Okay, chili heads. I have a coworker of mine at work. Steve says, "Why don't you try to make something sweet with them Carolina Reapers, like candy bar or something like that?" And I searched around. And I found this other YouTube channel where a guy made some bourbon cherry ghost pepper sauce. Is what he used. So I'm going to duplicate this sauce. I'm going to put a little twist on it though. So what I've got here, I've got 2 cups of bourbon. We'll set that aside over here. I got 1 10-ounce jar of cherries, and then I've got 4 Carolina Reapers chopped up. And if you can see those, I removed all the seeds from it. Not so much because I was worried about the heat, but because I didn't want seeds in this sauce. It's going to be a pretty looking sauce. But what I'm going to do different than the sauce he made, I'm going to make the sauce, but along with that, I'm going to put cherries in with stems. Now I'm going to pour this in here. I'm going to stir this up a little bit. Now the cherries that you're going to put in here just to make the sauce, what you want to do is you want to drain those. You want to reserve the sauce because you're going to use that later on. And once I stir this up, I'm going to take these cherries and I'm just going to place these around the edges. I don't want the stems in there because what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to make chocolate covered cherries out of these. Actually, I think I'm going to call them Bourbon Reaper cherry bombs. So we're going to let this soak like this in the refrigerator for a week. And then after that, we'll come back, we'll make the sauce, and then we'll, of course, make the chocolate covered cherries and see how that turns out. Okay, we're back. It's been 1 week. And if you remembered, or obviously you did, it was just a second ago, but here's our cherries. They're destemmed. They got the Carolina Reaper still soaking into bourbon. And the reason I decided to make 2 different things with this, the chocolate covered cherries and the sauce, is because why would you want to waste 2 cups of bourbon just soaking cherries to make chocolate covered cherries with and throw the bourbon away or try to drink the bourbon that Carolina Reapers have been soaking in? I don't know if I want to do that. So we're going to make this sauce in a few minutes, but we're going to concentrate mainly right now on these chocolate covered cherries. So what we have to do is we have to make our fondant, I think they call it. I call it the white stuff that's inside a chocolate covered cherry. So we're going to start with that. We have 1 pound of confectionery sugar. We're going to add to that 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And this batch here will make about 50 chocolate covered cherries. So if you want to make 100 of them, double the recipe by all means. I got, I believe it's half a stick of butter, sort of melted there. We're going to add that butter to it. I have half a cup of sweetened condensed milk. We're going to add that to it. And then some people, I'm going to start with probably I'm thinking a teaspoon of the juice from the cherries. I'm going to start with a teaspoon of that. And now what you can do is you're going to want to make a good dough ball out of this fondant. And if the dough ball don't come out right, or is not doughy as you think it can, you just keep going back and forth. You can add a little more liquid, or you can add a little more confectionery sugar or powdered sugar if you need to get to that consistency. Now I'm gonna mix it up like this for a little bit, and then what I'm gonna do is once I get it mixed up a little bit with this little spatula, I'm going to get in there and dig it in there with my hands. Now these cherries, I took these out a couple hours ago because you want these to sit and dry on some paper towels for a while because you don't want these real juicy. If they're real juicy, your fondant is not going to stick to these very well. So you want to make sure they're dried really well. So we're going to mix this up. We're going to get our hands in here and mix this up and make a nice little dough ball out of it. And then we'll be right back after that. Okay, here I have my dough ball made up. Now you got to remember when you're mixing this up that even your body heat, the more you need this, and the warmer it actually gets. So I got a good consistency, I think, right here. This is pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this out just a little bit like this. And I'm going to stick it back in the bowl, and I'm going to refrigerate this probably a couple of hours. It'll stiffen it up, and it's going to help it to form around the cherries a whole lot better than stick. And that way, when you sit it down on your wax paper to let it sit for a while, it's not going to all just like melt right off of it. My cherries are still uncovered. I'm going to leave them like this. And if you notice, I got this bowl divided in half because we're making half just plain chocolate covered cherries for the woman in my life that don't necessarily want all that heat and bourbon, and we're making the other half for those people that like to have a little bit more fun. So we'll get back to you right after this is done. And in the meantime, we're going to start getting our sauce ready. So we'll be right back. Okay, the fondant is chilling. So we're going to continue on to make this sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to blend this up. We got all of our cherries. We got our bourbon, vanilla in there. We're going to take the rest of the cherry juice that we kept originally, and we're going to blend this all up really nice. And then we're going to add it to a pan and add the rest of our ingredients. So I'm going to just hit this on puree, let this blend for a little bit. All right, the sauce is blended up, and what we're going to do is we're going to pour this into the pan. Oh, does that smell good? That smells good. Makes my mouth water. We're going to heat this up for a little bit. All right, our sauce is warmed up, and now we're going to do, we're going to order. The recipe calls for a quarter cup of cane syrup. I didn't have cane syrup. I have some syrup here that my wife found down in the deep south. It's good syrup. If you want to see the original recipe to this, go to, I believe it's Armadillo Pepper Co. He's got a lot of good videos out. This is where I got the original video for this sauce, and this is why I decided to try the chocolate covered cherries with it. All right, so I added my syrup, 2 cups of brown sugar. And what you're going to do is you're just going to stir this till it dissolves, obviously, and then after that, you're just going to let this simmer slowly. And this is probably going to simmer for almost an hour before it thickens. But you can, if you want to drink like that, drink it like that. But you want to let this thicken up a little bit, and it's going to make some great sauce. All right, we got our sauce going on behind us. Our fondant has been chilled. We've wrapped most of our cherries now, and what I'm going to show you what to do with this. We got a lot of them done already. We just make little balls out of them like this, about 1 inch round balls. Now I made some that are too thick, so you don't want to do that because I'm going to have a few leftover cherries here. And you basically just wrap it around the cherry and make sure you get it up around the stem really good. You want to pack that stem in because you don't want any juices to start leaking out that stem and kind of ruin the whole thing. And it depends on what kind of perfectionist you are. Get them around. You want to roll them in your hands or do whatever you want to do. Make them around, and that's pretty much it. You just keep stacking them on there. You round up another one, flatten it out a little bit, and put another cherry in. I got a few cherries left, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna have to try one of these just to see if it has any heat in it or bourbon flavor. I hope some of the sugar cools that down a little bit, but man, that pack a punch. Wow. Okay, there they are. They're all wrapped up in the fondant. We're going to cover these up and we're going to refrigerate these overnight. Okay, the sauce is done. The cherries are ready. We're going to make some chocolate here in a few minutes. This is how that sauce came in. It's just a really good consistency. I actually had some of this on my pancakes this morning. This stuff is the bomb. It's got a good little heat content, but just tremendous flavor. So we're gonna start making our chocolate next. And what we've got here is we got 1 bag, 12 ounces of chocolate, baking chocolate, I guess you'd call that. We got a stainless steel pan. You can pick them up anywhere, Pet Supply, Dog Bowl, whatever it is. It's stainless steel and a little bit of water in the pan because you don't want this sitting in the water and you don't want to, cook your chips right in there. Now we're going to add to this, and this is an old tried and true recipe. We got a 1/3 stick paraffin wax. Yep, that's what it is. It's paraffin wax, and that's going to make that chocolate thick and just last a little bit better. It's the best way to do it. Trust me, it sounds odd. So we're going to get this cooking on the stove, get it melted up, then we're going to start dipping these. All right, here our chocolate is al dente. Now you don't want your water pan under the water underneath here boiling. We have this turned way down on low. So we dip the cherry in there. You can see it dripping off. Give it a good spin. Whoa, there we go. Trying to let the camera see it, had it up too high. Give it a good spin and spin some of that chocolate off of there. And you just keep on dipping away. Make sure it gets covered. Now when this gets low, you're going to have to get a spoon in there probably. Get some of the chocolate out. Make sure you get that stem covered good. Give it a nice little spin. Spin some of that chocolate off of there. And you just keep going. So we're going to continue dipping these until they're all done. All right. Cherries are all dipped. They look delicious. I had a little leftover chocolate. So this is for you, Steve. You said I need to make a candy bar or something. So what I did with my leftover chocolate while it was still hot, I took some of my smoked Carolina Reaper powder. I stuck it in that chocolate, mixed it all up, tasted a little bit, to get it the heat I kind of like. And we're going to put all this chocolate stuff, we're going to put in the freezer. Now I like freezing these chocolate covered cherries and just leave them in there. When I want to eat one, I just get one out of the freezer and I eat it. They're very good. And don't forget to make this sauce. I hope you enjoyed the video. I almost forgot. The best part is to try one. It'll be better when they're froze, but very sweet. Taste the cherry and the bourbon. Oh, here comes. Here comes that heat. All that sweetness didn't take a bunch of that heat out, but that's why you freeze them and you just keep eating them. Very good, very good.